So first thing I want to ask you is, how did you get started off in this industry?
Kind of through relationships, I guess. I started off as a DJ, but I was DJing in school. I wasn't really like, I wasn't a well-known DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I went to college, I became a DJ who people knew. But other than that, when I left, I just started messing around with the Emcee. Before I know it, me and my partner were in front of Big Pun, playing Big Pun beats, and Fat Joe liked a couple joints, and I mean, he didn't end up picking anything, but that was kind of like our in at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my first taste of the industry, was playing beats for Big Pun and Fat Joe.
Really? So,
yeah.
So they made, what songs did you do with Pun and Joe?
I didn't do any songs with Pun and Joe at the time. Well, I ended up doing a song with Joe after the fact. I did a song with Joe called Oh Yeah, years later.
Right.
But that time I didn't do anything for him. It was just kind of like him introducing us, telling us like, yo, you know, I didn't even know what producers got paid. So that was like a question I asked. I was like, yo, you know, what do new producers get? He was like, yo, y'all can start off like 5,000 and better. I was like, what? Alright, cool. Yeah, because you know, shit, back then 5,000 is like for a beat.
Right.
I mean, to some producers now, that's you get 5,000 for a beat, you win it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I felt back then. So that was kind of like, okay, cool. I love to do this, and you can get paid from it. It's just a matter of dedication, and that was it.
Okay. All right. Another question too that a lot of people want to know. How did you end up linking up with Diplomats? Because a lot of people know you from that sound, that Dip Saint Anthem sound.
Right. The 100% true story is Cam had a manager at the time named Renee McLean. Renee McLean used to do radio promotion, so we had some artists that we were dealing with out of North Carolina, and we brought the record to him. And you know, obviously this is what he does for a living, so we had to pay him to work the record. So we brought a certain amount of money to him, and I guess he was kind of like, yo, how do these young dudes have this type of money?
Yeah.
And he was like, what do y'all do? He's like, yo, we producers. You know what I'm saying? So we gave him a CD. He was like, yo, I manage Cam. So we gave him a CD with like 20 tracks on there. Mm-hmm. And out of the 20 tracks, Cam ended up picking 9 for Diplomatic Community. Yeah. And then we went in and did another 2 later on, which made it 11. But that was really it in a nutshell.
Okay. All right. Now, a lot of people also, it's like they think that, like, when they think of Heatmakerz, when they think of you, they think of that, like, you were under, you know, kind of what you see with Tim and Emcee, or you see with Just Blaze and Kanye with The Rock. Right. They felt like the Heatmakerz, like, you guys were with Diplomats. Like, that,
I mean,
that
we were.
Thing.
We were. That was, at the end of the day, you can't deny it. We did so many records, and they were the first dudes to really give us the shot. Because, you know, like, a producer could do one record here, one record there, but at the end of the day, his career can end and he can be unknown. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, we just did so many records on a successful project and just a successful movement. We were part of a successful movement, so it was like certain movements, regardless of what happens in hip-hop, you'll never forget it. Regardless if Cash Money stopped making music today, they're not going to be forgotten. They had too big of a mark on hip-hop. Same thing with Rough Riders, same thing with G-Unit, and you got to put Dipset in the conversation, because for about a good 4 years, from about 2001 to about 2004, early 2005, Dipset had it rocking. You know what I'm saying? And we control the music for that movement for the most part. So, yeah, I mean, we was with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was a team.
I got a question. Out of all the tracks you did for the Diplomats, what would be your favorite track and why?
I'm Ready. I don't even have to think about it. I'm Ready, my favorite track. That track just came to, everything on that track happened just almost like by accident. I went to the record store like I normally do back then to go shopping for samples. As soon as I got to the record store, the first record I pulled out was that Barbara Mason record. I put it on, they had a turntable in the store where you could listen to it. As soon as I put it on the turntable and put the needle, as soon as I dropped the needle on the record, that's where it landed, on the spot that I sampled. Like, and I was like, this shit sounds crazy. So I didn't even listen to any more records. I just bought that, went home, made that beat in about 15 minutes. And I remember leaving it on repeat for about 2 hours. I listened to that shit for about 2 hours. Because I knew, like, I made that beat a year and a half before y'all heard it. You know what I'm saying? That beat was just sitting in my computer. Like, another artist really had that beat, but it's a long story. They didn't end up paying for it. They didn't want to pay me first. They wanted to pay another producer first. So I ended up selling the track to to Cam. It just so happened that they loved the track. I sold it to Cam and them, and that was the first record they would put out from us.
Okay. Well, now being obviously, Dipset is reunited. I guess people wonder, like, what made you, because, like, we stopped hearing, like, that sound that you guys had with Diplomats. Like, what was the reason? Any particular reason why that stopped? Or just you guys just grew apart? Or?
Yeah, in a sense, I would say, I don't want anybody to think it was any type of bad blood, because it was never, like, I'm still cool with every last one of them. You know what I'm saying? I just think it was just everybody, life taking everybody in different directions. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody becoming their own entity. It was like Joel's is a platinum artist, Jim is an artist who had major success on his own, and Cam is Cam. Like, everybody know what Cam did, and for us it was just a matter of, I wanted to feel like people knew us for something else other than just being Dipset producers. I wanted to prove that we can produce for every and anybody. We just happen to create a sound for Dipset that worked, but we can also do a record like we did for Lil Wayne. We could do a record like we did for Beyonce. We could do all types of records. And that's what I wanted people to know. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why everybody had a point to prove, I think.
Well, that leads up to my next question. Like, even though they know you for that, what other records did you do that maybe people don't know? Aside from the Dipset sound, like what other artists, like what records?
We did the Mob for Lil Wayne on the Carter 2. We did Receipt for Lil Wayne on the Carter 2. We did records with I don't even remember the names of these records. I think a record with Ghostface, Scarface. We did a record with Beyonce called Stop Sign. We did we did a bunch of records. Man, I'm just trying to even remember the records that we did. We did records for Ludacris, I-20, T.I. I just don't remember the names of these. I'm trying to remember the names of the records, because I think the I-20 Ludacris record was called Meet the Dealer. I don't remember the name of the T.I. record, to be honest with you, but yeah, we did a bunch of records, man. Now we're doing a lot more pop stuff. Like, we're working with an artist by the name of Alexandra Burke. She had won X Factor in 2009. I think it was on the UK X Factor, but she signed over here now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to Kevin Lyles and Leo Cohen's new situation. We also doing some work with this actress by the name of Abigail Breslin. She's in the new movie Endgames. We did her whole EP. Also working with another pop group. No, I wouldn't even know if I should call them pop, but I guess you would. By the name of Trilogy. It was like a Donald Trump group put together. So like three Miss Americas in a group. We did some work with them. Just a lot of different stuff, man, but mainly a lot of pop stuff.
My question, I always like to ask an artist, what's the difference between being a rapper and an MC?
Right.
So same thing with producers. What's the difference between making a beat to actually being a great producer?
I think anybody can make a beat. I think a producer is a couple things. One, a producer knows the difference between a good beat and just a beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, only thing that a beat consists of is sounds. That's it. Now, can your brain work well enough to arrange these sounds into something that somebody can hear for 3.5 minutes over and over again? That's really what it boils down to. So, a producer knows the difference. A producer can use 5 instruments, and a beat maker might try to throw in 13 instruments, thinking that because it's fuller, it sounds better. But a producer knows, okay, cool, I don't need these other 8 instruments. All I need is this 5. This 5 makes the beat rock. I'm good with this. That's the difference. Like, a producer knows that less is more, or whatever the scenario is.
If you can make a all-star group, like we often talk about our favorite basketball players,
right,
or our favorite football players.
Right.
If you can name your top producers, whether you drew from or whether you would like to work with, who will be your all-star lineup of producers?
How many?
Whatever you want to give.
Let's see the obvious people first. Dre's, Pete Rocks, RZA, Timbaland, Swiss, Justice League, bunch of, I mean, those are just the people that come to the top of my head, because Pharrell, well, Neptunes, I can't just say Pharrell, Neptunes, just people that I think brought a sound to the table. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody that I named, you can tell is their music when you hear it. Some producers, you hear it, you're like, did they do that? I don't know if they did that. That kind of sounds like this person. When they make a beat, everybody that I named, from the RZAs to the Pete Rocks to the Timbalands to Swiss, when they make a beat, you know this is a Swiss beat. This is Pharrell. This is whoever. Like, you just know that's the mark of a great producer to me. Like, some producers, they just make music and you're like, a handful of people could have made this. I don't know. That's not the mark of a good producer to me. A good producer, actually, you know it's him or her.
Now, you named a lot of veteran producers.
Right.
And I know it's a lot of producers in your age range or younger that have that mark.
Right.
Such as, to me, I like Cardiac Sound. He's a great producer.
Right.
A-Rap Music has that sound because he puts the tag in it that you know it's his sound.
Right.
And a few others. From the people from your age range and down, what are some of your favorite producers from your age range now?
Like I said, definitely Justice League. I like them. I do like Cardiac's music. S1, I like. Buck Wilder's a close friend of mine, but that's why I never mentioned him, because Buck to me is just like my people, but he's dope. You know what I'm saying? Not to leave him out the conversation, because to me Buck is one of the best to do it as far as his hip hop goes. Just Blaze, definitely. I forget Just Blaze. Yeah, Just Blaze. Yeah, definitely Just Blaze, Justice League. And I don't know if you put Buck in my era, because Buck been rocking for a minute, but in my era I would definitely say Just Blaze, Justice League. Even though Justice League came after us, they got that feel of they got that old sound with them. You know what I'm saying? So I fuck with them. Yeah, so I just say Justice League and Just Blaze.
Now, coming out of the situation when you moved on, when you guys just branched off,
right?
What was it? You had a situation with E1 at one point, because I had seen like the whole thing where it looked like you were coming, and I wanted to know what happened with that. Like
with E1?
Yeah. Because was it a label or was it just you guys gonna?
No, it was just us fulfilling a commitment that we had with Koch at the time. It wasn't even E1 when we did the deal. But because of some bad middle people, things just really didn't pan out the way it was supposed to. So the project kind of just got put out really with hardly any promotion, and just it was what it was. But they just did bad business, man. I'm not speaking for all of E1, but the people I was dealing with was doing bad business. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no reason why the people that I had on that project, I had people all the way from Joel's, Jim, MOP, Remy, Game. I had a bunch of people on that project, and they just kind of, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of just was there. So it is what it is.
Right. Another thing I wanted to definitely ask you about is like what are you guys like doing now? Are you?
Now is a whole different story, man.
Yeah.
Now is what was supposed to happen before is happening now. It's just, you know, like the way that the music industry works, to me, it works from the inside out.
Yeah.
So what I know is happening, the people on the outside probably looking like, yo, what happened to Heatmakerz, man? They like, I think they dead in the water. When in all reality,
right,
this might be the best situation that I've been in a long time, or well, about to be in a long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're working with people I would have never worked with before. I have a facility I didn't have before that's in the middle of Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? I'm in serious conversations about a label situation that we should be good at the top of the year if everything works the way it's supposed to work. We're not just, I mean an official label situation, not the bullshit ones they talk about nowadays. I'm talking about some real shit behind us, if you understand what I'm saying, without me putting everything out there, really signing artists, giving them budgets, having full-fledged videos. Like, it's gonna be crazy in a second. So that's where I'm at now, and I'm just producing, like I told you, a lot of the different projects I haven't been working on in the past, a lot of pop stuff, just a lot of just different things, man. Like, I'm in the midst of trying to work out a deal with Nickelodeon for something real nice, just to it's gonna go down, man. It's gonna be crazy in a second, but you know, I just think everything has its time. Because in my mind, this should have happened years ago, but I don't think I wasn't mentally ready for it to happen years ago. I was young, and I was, you know, young dude with money don't really mix. You gotta wisen up, man. Like, I should have had this studio years ago, but my mind was someplace else. It's not until you get older, you go through some things, you're like, okay, cool, I know what to do now, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at. I'm pretty comfortable, and well, mentally I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at right now.
I'm friends with a producer, and he schooled me a lot about the stuff that goes on behind the music industry.
Right.
I noticed you said as you got older, you've been through certain things.
Right.
Now, I know there's a lot of producers out right now that's getting basically screwed
Right.
for not knowing the business of being a producer.
Right.
So I guess if you can keep it in a nutshell, can you give the newer producers some good advice about getting points on a certain record and so forth? Because now it's like artists want you to give beats away for free, and they don't understand how to officially get paid.
It depends. See, this is where you got common sense comes into play at some point. If you're a producer and Jay-Z comes to you and says, yo, I need you to give me this beat for free, I'm going to take all the publishing, but I'm going to put your name down as the producer. That's worth more as a new producer than the money that he could potentially give you. Because that one cosign opens up hundreds of doors for you. Now, on the other hand, if a dude from your block that just got a deal says, yo, I want you on my album, but y'all don't got no money for you, and I'm going to keep the publishing, but I'm going to give you a credit. No, that's not worth it. Because if he doesn't win, then what do you get? Nothing. You just have to, in your brain, you would have to hope that you win. So my thing is, a lot of these new producers that when they come in, people offer them money and say, okay, cool, you know what, I'll give you $10,000 for this beat, but I'm going to take the publishing, and I'm going to take the credit. What's the sense? That $10,000, you could spend, I could go outside and spend $10,000 across the street right now. What good is that? Your publishing and your points, that's what feeds your kids. Like, let's just say you run into a smash, you make the next, what's the big record right now? Blurred Lines. Let's say you make the next Blurred Lines, and you get no credit for it. Meanwhile, somebody's putting millions of dollars in their pocket for your credit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, somebody gives you $10,000, but in return makes $1 million. Like, that's how you got to look at it. You could be thirsty and take the money now, of course. Who wouldn't sometimes? If you're a new producer, you ain't never seen a dime before, and somebody said, I got $30,000 for you, who's going to really turn that down? And they know that. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why it takes a certain type of composure to be in this game. Because when you're thirsty for money, that's why it can't be about money. You have to truly love this, because when you love it, you can look somebody in the face and say, I'm not doing that. This is my art. This is what I do. So either you're going to handle it right or you're not taking that song. But the thirsty ones say, what, 10,000? I can't wait to take that. But we all fall victim to it when it's early, but hopefully somebody will watch this and be going through the situation and say, nah, you know what, I want my credit.
Now, you talked about making the next Blurred Lines if you get your proper credit, feeding your kids.
Right.
Have you been in a situation that you produced on a platinum record from whatever era that you're still eating off of?
Of course. Yeah, I remember Diplomatic Community went platinum and did 11 records on there.
Wow.
So, just to put it in perspective for you, if you do, let's just say you do, these numbers they're not 100% accurate, but it's in the ballpark. Let's just say you produce one record with no samples, so you get 50% of a record on an album that goes platinum. There's no reason why you shouldn't see somewhere close to about $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. You understand? There's no reason why you shouldn't if everything is done correct and proper and right. And that's assuming, let's just say, because whatever you get paid, that's recoupable. So let's just say that's assuming you gave them the record. You just said, cool, you can have that, just give me my points. And now you have 50% of that one song on a platinum album. You should see somewhere around 50 to 60 grand. We did 11 records, and the lowest percentage we got on any record was 25%. On an album that went platinum, 11 records. So, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously your checks get smaller because the albums start selling less and less. But if you have enough work out there, it's going to constantly, you got to remember, we did Lil Wayne Carter 2. That one, to me, I think that's at double platinum right now. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we did 2 records on that album. So, you know what I mean? The publishing is important, man.
now.
Right.
You know, it used to be an era where that was just normal to have female MCs.
Mm-hmm.
As we're now, there's maybe one. I think Naeem Supreme just got signed to Timberland's incorrect.
Right.
So now there'll probably be two.
Is that's the girl from New Orleans?
No, she's from Queens.
Oh, she's from Queens?
Yeah.
There's a dope chick from New Orleans. I don't remember her name, but my homeboy played. Anyway, that's off topic.
No, it's okay. It's like we wanted your opinion on why do you think, being a producer from your angle, why do you think there's so many lack of female MCs?
I think it's because it's like any other form of rap, right? Like if let's just say a white MC comes out and he's rapping about the struggles of the hood that we might go through. We don't want to hear that because at the end of the day, we know what that's like. Tell us something that we don't know about.
Right.
When Eminem came out and he's rapping about mushrooms and things that, and I'm not trying to sound racist, but things that white boys do that we might not get into, we're into that because we want to find out about that lifestyle because he's white. We want to hear how a white kid grows up in the middle of Detroit. Not how a white kid grows up like a black dude in the middle of, we want to hear the white struggle.
Right.
So with a female, it's kind of like a lot of female MCs are coming out now and they talking about busting their gun and doing this and doing that and holding down the block, and no, I don't want to hear that from a female. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, and maybe this is just me. Like when Foxy was out, the way Foxy did it was Foxy approached it from another angle. It was like she let you know every other line. I'm still a female, but at the end of the day, I got people around me that might do this, that, and the third. I'm from Brooklyn. The way she did it was, to me, was perfect. It hasn't been attacked like that since from a female artist. Like I can listen to a Foxy album in a car full of niggas, no problem.
Right.
It's hard to do that with a female MC because you start to feel like, like, don't get me wrong, Lil' Kim is dope. I think she's dope, you know what I'm saying? But Lil' Kim played on the sex thing a lot, and that won for her. That's cool. That's where Nicki's at now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But to balance it out, there's nobody in that Fox lane. That's why the game is so, it's lopsided like that all around the board. It's like when gangster rap is winning, party rap falls off. When party rap and bullshit is winning, gangster shit falls off. It's like it hasn't been a fair balance in a long time. I don't know if you remember when 50 Cent came out with Get Rich or Die Trying. That was the party era. He just stepped in and told niggas like, fuck that. And he made gangster music and niggas fucked with it because he filled the void.
Right.
That's what it is with the female MC. There has to be a female MC that has to sit down and think, what's missing in the game right now? How can I attack that? That's the lane I need to take. Like Nicki, she got her shit sewn up. Regardless of what you want to say, you could love her, you could hate her, but you have to admit what's in front of your face. She got whatever she does sewn up. That's what, for now anyway.
Right.
So as long as you know that lane is taken, you got to figure out what other lanes is open. Because you're not going to win in her lane, not now.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? That's why the female MC thing is so scarce now, because everybody sees Nicki winning and they know there's money there, so they following her lead like, yo, you're not going to beat her at her own shit. You're just not going to do it. You understand what I'm saying? It's like me being a producer trying to do what Dr. Dre does. I can't do what I can't beat him at his own game. It's impossible. I gotta find out what's missing and attack that. That's, you know, I know I gave you a whole long ass answer, beat around the bush, but that's what's missing from the female MC part of the game, is that nobody is filling the voids that are wide open. They just, everything is kind of like attacking her shit. Like her shit is already, she got that already.
Right. And now we're seeing the effect with Trinidad James. A few MCs.
Hold on, first, big shout out to Diamond. I forgot we did 8 tracks on Diamond's project.
Diamond from Crime Mob?
Yeah, big shout out to Diamond. We talking about female MCs,
No, we tried to interview her.
Yeah, we did about 8 joints for her. I played some of that too. But yeah, big shout out to her, man. But yeah, I forgot. Next question.
We seen the effect when Kendrick Lamar made the Control Verse.
Right.
We kind of had knew, New York had been kind of slipping. Like we kind of been in the background.
Right.
Now you're seeing the effect because now Trinidad James came out here a few years ago, and now he made his comment.
Right.
Saying like, Atlanta runs New York and, saying whatever disrespectful comment he made. We also, we wanted your opinion on it because it's similar to the female MC. There's really no East Coast MCs that's really setting a blaze of fire like that. It's not, there isn't though, and we wonder why is there a lack of New York MCs.
Because I think a lot of, New York doesn't have an identity anymore. That's bottom line. Meaning like, there was a point in rap where we could say, this is New York shit.
Right.
This is down south shit. This is West Coast shit. There was a complete separation of each. At some point, West Coast kept their identity, and down south in New York did this. But it was more us going down there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we just kind of lost all our identity. And when somebody did come out from the East Coast, from New York or the tri-state with a New York record, it got gunned down faster than anything in the world because that wasn't in. That, to most people viewed what we saw as New York music, people view now as old school hip hop. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there is no other than, and I'm not plugging this because I was part of the era, but during Dipset and G Unit was the last New York music that we know. After that, we can't even say this is New York music. And even now, like certain records, I'll play people certain records just to kind of gauge them and see where they at. And some people will be like, nah, like I need that new, like that different bounce at that. And I'm like, yo, where are you from? Like, and I don't knock anybody for doing what you do, but let it be authentic to you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when it's not authentic to you, then it just sounds like you're trying to fit in. And I can't respect people that musically just try to fit in. Be different, even if you lose being different. And when I say different, I don't mean just jump out the window and do something you normally wouldn't do.
Right.
I mean, be who you are. If you're a dude you ain't never bust a gun, you ain't never shot nobody, why are you rapping about that? If you ain't never been there, if you didn't live in Atlanta for more than 5 years, why are you making bounce records? Like, what I'm saying is, if a majority of your life you were a hip hop fan, you like Nas, you like Jay-Z, you like Biggie, you like whatever, and then now all of a sudden, because there's that down south wave, you're making that down south wave. I can't respect that because it's kind of like that's not you. Be whoever you are. To me, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. Just be whoever you are. If your music gonna win being who you are, you was gonna win regardless.
One of the questions we kind of always go back and forth is, seeing that during that era, when you had G Unit, you had Dipset, Rockefeller, and so forth, they were on top. They had the labels, they had the artists.
Right.
Now, we also talk about how those people also had a lot of responsibility to keep the torch in their hand. Do you blame, well, not do you, but do you think it's any of the veterans' fault that had the torch in their hand and then maybe put certain artists on that they could have signed and just let down south artists sign New York artists or Philly artists that was in our own backyard?
What I think it was like, obviously a lot of rappers that were winning signed other rappers to their label. And I think that's where the problem started to happen, because we lost executives and got rappers as executives, which is not a bad thing. Right. But when you're still a rapper and you're controlling your own career, it's kind of hard to make sure somebody else's career is going to flourish and take off. And I don't knock any of whatever rappers became CEOs or heads of their own labels. I don't knock them for that, because you're supposed to do that. Yeah. But I just think we came from an era where producers put out artists, and it kind of won because the producers had no ulterior motive, because to them it was just like, I just make the music and I make sure it comes out good. I want you to be on stage performing and win and this, that, and the third. I think there became a point in hip-hop where the CEO, who was also the artist, when his artists started to become as famous as him or them, it's kind of like, wait a minute, I gotta focus back on my career because this nigga's catching me on the low, whether they say it or not. You understand what I'm saying? So I think a lot of that had to do with just kind of how New York music kind of fizzled, because when that era kind of started dying down, nobody was there left to hold the torch, like you said. It was just kind of a bunch of dope MCs that were just scattered, but nobody was like the alpha male in the situation. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's dead for long. I think it's a cycle, man. Like, I think everything goes in a cycle, because, like I said, seeing things from the inside out, I see music coming back to where it was. I know what record labels are asking for. They don't want a bunch of that music that they were getting before. Now they want something that's musical and that has changes and that sounds like it could have been produced, as opposed to somebody just in a program drag and dropping sounds. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I think it's coming back to where it's supposed to be at. You know, I know people who watch this and be like, yo, this dude is just hating, because I just want to see music win, man. I don't care where it happens from. I'll adapt. You know what I'm saying? When I say I'll adapt, I won't do what everybody else is doing, but I'll find a way to put my spin on it to make it now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want anybody to watch this and think I'm saying what I'm saying, like, yo, he just mad because this. I'm really not mad. Like I said, I'm probably in the best space I've been in the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? As far as just what the future's looking like. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that we need to push ourselves musically, man. Like, we need to push ourselves to not make the bullshit. I don't know how else to say it, but just push ourselves not to make the bullshit.
Certain producers, like when my friend is a producer, really understand sounds how you were talking about,
Right.
and they're really good with regular instruments and know how to make beats from instruments,
Right.
as opposed to using the programs.
Right.
Did you play original instruments as a youth, and how did that affect you learning how to produce?
I didn't, and at first, like now I started playing the guitar a little bit, but back then, no, it was just, I knew sounds, and eventually I started learning chords and stuff like that. I mean, it's just natural progression, but I knew what sounded good. Like, I could chop up a sample into a bunch of pieces and make music out of it like I was playing the keyboard, but I never took lessons, or nobody ever taught me. It was just, I knew what sounded good rhythmically. It wasn't even about, okay, this is a C chord, I didn't know any of that. I just knew, okay, if I do it like this shit sounds dope. But over time, you start to learn chords, you start to learn chord progressions, you learn, it's just the natural evolution of a producer, or it should be. If you're seriously a producer, you should learn how to play other instruments, because why not? I mean, you're around it so much, you might as well.
Producers and rappers are known from sampling old school records. That's where we get our sound from, in hip hop as well as jazz. What's your favorite old school record that set it off for you?
I had a bunch, man. I think I probably did my most sampling off the OJs. I think it was the Ship Ahoy album. They had an album called Ship Ahoy, I think. Because they had a single named Ship Ahoy, but I think that was the name of the album. The OJs are probably my favorite group to sample. Between the OJs and Donny Hathaway. So Donny Hathaway and the OJs is probably my favorite two people to sample back then. But I've sampled so many people, man, it would be hard for me to just single out. But them I remember, because those are my first couple samples I ever picked up. The record we did on Come Home With Me, the title track Come Home With Me, that was a Donny Hathaway sample.
Moving forward, you talk about we could look forward to future deals in the making.
Right.
Do you have any projects that you're working on that you can talk about?
The Diamond Project, I totally forgot about that, but definitely the Diamond Project. But I forgot because we did the records with her maybe about 6 months ago. We did 8 records that came out dope. Like, I think a lot of people are gonna be surprised. Like, I'm actually excited about that, because I think she's gonna surprise a lot of people. Because I know people probably have an image of Diamond like, like just like a cute chick, just like that's it. She's just a cute chick, but she gets busy. You know what I'm saying? And she's a cool person, so I think that's gonna be dope. The Alexandra Burke project, we're 3 records in now with her, with what we did, and that's dope. We're about to do, matter of fact, I found this out yesterday. We're still kind of working out all the details, but me and Fred are gonna do a project through Sony. A good friend of mine, Neil Levine, just and I'm kind of actually speaking prematurely on this, but I'm just almost sure it's gonna happen. So I don't really care. By the time this come out, it'll be definite anyway. A good friend of mine by the name of Neil Levine, that used to run Penalty, well, he owned Penalty Records back in the day. I don't know if you remember Penalty Records with Nori. Well, Sony just gave him another label deal to reopen Penalty. So me and him met up yesterday to talk about putting out Fred's new project through Penalty and Sony. So
Fred the God?
Yeah, Fred the God. So we're gonna do the part 2. We did a Contraband, a full project form, it came out in March. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna do a part 2, a Contraband 2, God Help Us All, and that'll be like his album that we're gonna put out through Sony, and it's gonna be I did 1 track already. That's it, just 1. I'll play it for you. But when I tell you this, I'm gonna make sure myself that this project is the best project you ever heard in your life, because I got too much respect for what Fred does to short him on his chance to take off. So it's gonna be crazy, I promise you. Yo, what up, man? It's your boy Arsonist, half of them Platinum Boys, the Heatmakerz. We in Diamond District Studios. You already know what it is, man. Big shouts to my people from Enveonline. This is the Bronx edition. Holla at your boy, man. Bronx in the building.